Okay, so I've never been paid to host a workshop or give a speech, and that all changes today. I partnered with KSBDC on this presentation and workshop I'm about to do called Building Your Brand Story. And dude, I'm so excited. Now I'm a little nervous that I'm in the parking lot about to go inside. Thankfully, we have, I want to say around 10 people. I told them I wanted to cap it at like 15 because I want it to be like more of an intimate experience. I want to be able to sit down with people and engage with them about what their business is and how we can really help like figure out their brand story. Because the last time I gave a speech with them, I had about 35 or 40 people in the room, and there's so many questions. I wanted to help so many people, but I just couldn't due to like the time restrictions. So, well, about to go jump in there, and yeah, I'll show you guys some of the presentation. I'm gonna bring this camera in, bring the mic in, and yeah, we're gonna have some fun. I know I said, hey, let's jump into it, but real quick before we do that, I want to say I was very nervous when I was doing the speech, so I sped through a lot of it. So feel free to pause when I'm asking the questions about your values, etc. But just feel free to pause and take time to actually answer those questions as you go through it. Because yeah, I was so nervous when doing that. So yeah, enjoy it. So first and foremost, I just want to get to know y'all too, just so I kind of know where to go with this. So if you don't mind, just like your name, and then if you own a company or anything like that, just so I can kind of help guide stuff. I'll just start here with Lucas.
My name is Lucas Gifford, and I have an apartment cleaning business.
Okay.
Pretty new to this, so.
Cool. All right. And then you?
Mindy Cook, we own Anywhere But Here Travel.
Okay. So like travel agency type of thing?
Escorted groups,
Okay.
world tours, things of that nature.
Cool.
I'm Black Betty, and I work at Kansas State University, and we're working with Valor Honey,
Okay.
which is it's a nonprofit that works with veterans who make honey.
Oh, awesome. That's really cool.
Josh Wineland I own my own electric business called Swift Electric.
Okay. Cool. You with him?
I'm Beth Wineland. I'm just with him. I do his bookkeeping and all.
Perfect.
I'm Stacy Howell. I'm here with Natasha with the kitchen.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Natasha Gandhi-Rue, and I own the kitchen.
Awesome.
And I'm Paola Lewis, and I'm with Surf Pro.
Okay. Perfect.
All the- I just work with
Okay. Perfect. Well, I'm glad to meet y'all. My name is Jacob Clark. I am the owner here at Manage to Create. And what we do is we're a local videography company. We do a bunch of just branding, storytelling, and social media work for small businesses here in town. So I guess how many of y'all, if you own a business, are on social media? That's kind of where today's going to go. Yeah, I see a bunch of your guys' content. Okay. So first and foremost, what is a brand story? This is kind of like where I love to go into, just because getting companies to like share their values, their why, and their mission is definitely where I love to be. Instead of creating just the normal social media content that you're aiming to get views, I like to help explain what this company is. So a brand story is a narrative that defines your purpose, your mission, and your values, creating an emotional connection with your audience. It's not just about what you sell, but why you exist, who you serve, and how you make an impact. So, I love to talk about the 3 pillars of a brand story. You're going to hear me talking about pillars a lot. I go into content pillars, and then these pillars about a strong brand story. First and foremost is your why. It's your purpose. We're going to be, as mentioned, we'll have a worksheet later on today, kind of explaining and going into this a little bit deeper. But first and foremost, your why. Why does your brand exist beyond just making money? Obviously, we're out here to trying to make a living, but why did you start that business? Or why do you work for the business that you work for? Next is your who. This is your audience. This is who are you trying to connect with? Who are you trying to solve problems for? And then lastly is your how. This is what makes your brand different. Like what makes you stand out from the rest of them. So like with your electric company, how do you stand out from the rest of the people within the industry? Cool. So to break it down even more, the purpose. Why does your brand exist? Your brand's purpose is deeper than just why, beyond making money. It's the core motivation behind what you do and who you serve. So just some quick questions to ask yourself is, why did you start this brand, this business, or why did you join this brand or business? What do you want to see, or what change do you want to create in your industry or customers' lives? And then if your brand disappeared tomorrow, what impact would be lost within the community that you serve? These are just questions I always love to ask when I sit down with a client and just we're trying to figure things out. These are typically my go-to just to discover their purpose. Next is your mission, what your brand does. Your mission is how your brand actively works towards fulfilling its purpose. It defines what you do, who you serve, and how you do it. So again, some key questions are, what problem do you solve? Who do you serve? And how do you deliver your product or service differently than others? Next, values. What does your brand stand for? Your brand values are the principles and beliefs that guide your decisions, culture, and customer interactions. They shape how you operate and how people perceive you. So this is your forward-facing side of it. So what principles guide your brand's decisions? What qualities are non-negotiable in how you operate? This one I just want to stop on because this is major. I mean, you see people nowadays just kind of bending and shaking when it comes to just things going on culturally in our community. This is really what defines you guys, like how you stand on what you believe in. And then next is, what behaviors reflect your brand's personalities? And then our who. This is our audience. Your brand isn't just about you. I mean, when you get on social media and someone's talking about me, typically we scroll past. What stops us is when someone says, hey, you, or they go in and try to fix a problem that you're looking to be solved. It's about the people that you serve. The stronger connection within your audience, the more impactful your message will be. So, again, more questions. Who benefits the most from your product or service? What are their biggest challenges, needs, or desires? And what motivates them to take action? I know within all these different industries, people have different motivations to make them take action. Again, I'm just going to keep on picking on Josh back there with the electricity. Like, obviously with you guys, if somebody's outlet's broken or their lights aren't turning on, there's a bigger motivation. But for someone like myself, when people are just trying to figure out their branding, their social media, whatever the case is, like getting them to take that action, we just got to figure out how we get them to do that. All right, next, how. What makes you different? Your how is what sets you apart from the competitors. It's the unique method, process, or experiences that makes your brand stand out and delivers value in a way that you only can. Again, more questions. What makes your product, service, or approach unique? How do you solve your audience's problem differently or better than others?
Jacob, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Are you going to be giving this
Yes.
in paper?
So this presentation, I can deliver digitally to y'all, just so you guys don't got to worry about taking pictures and whatnot. And then, yeah, on paper, I'll have a worksheet later on that you guys can write down. It kind of goes over the same type of thing.
I just want to know because I don't take notes fast enough.
Okay. I said I can even slow down a little bit too. So, yeah, what makes your product, service, or approach unique? How do you solve your audience's problem differently or better than others? What specific process, system, or philosophy do you follow? And then lastly, what experience do customers get when working with you? So with all that being said, all those definitions laid out, why is having a brand story like crafted important? First and foremost, like I've said, people don't just buy products, they buy stories, feelings, and identities. I'm assuming you guys don't follow me on social media, but I do daily videos almost talking about like certain things like this. We all have stuff in our household, whether it's soap by so-and-so or a pot made by Rachel Ray. Like we buy things not necessarily because they're great products. I mean, I've bought stainless or nonstick cookware that has gone bad within a short amount of time, but I bought it because of the name attached to it. That just shows that people are buying things based off of the identity behind it and not just because of the product itself. Next, a strong brand story makes people feel something, which drives loyalty towards your brand. And lastly, a clear and authentic story turns customers into fans who believe in your mission. Once you can convert a customer into a fan or a follower that pushes your name, that's when you'll see mass growth amongst your customer base, because nowadays, and it's always kind of been, the word of mouth and the referrals are going to get you better customers at the end of the day, because the one-on-one, it's easier for you to land a warm lead than a cold lead. That's the way I always explain that. Next, the power of storytelling within business. People remember stories and not facts. The human brain is wired for storytelling. We retain 22 times more information through stories than raw data. With that, I think it's always cool to just see how different people learn. And I'm this way where if somebody's giving me a story about something, I'm definitely going to retain it more than just looking at a spreadsheet full of numbers. Next, stories create emotional connections. And then a great story builds trust and loyalty. So consistent storytelling helps your audience connect, trust, and stay engaged with your brand. So that's another thing that we're going to focus on today, is building out the content pillars that I talked about, because you want to stay consistent with your message. As soon as you start going one way or the other, and if you kind of veer from it, that's when the trust and the loyalty towards your brand kind of gets a little shaky. And lastly, stories drive action. A well-told story inspires customers to take action, whether that's following, sharing, or even purchasing your product. Okay, so this one is finding your brand story. Now that we've gone through all of that, I know it was pretty rushed, but we're going to answer these 3 questions. First one, what inspired you to start your business, or why did you join the business that you're with? Next, what problem are you trying to solve for people? Then, how do you want people to feel when they interact with your brand? We're just going to think about those 3 questions for a little bit. And then once we do that, we're just going to kind of talk amongst ourselves and just kind of see how you are with your company. Okay. Do we have anyone that wants to share their answers to these? Okay.
So I work for Surfbro, and we are a restoration company.
Mm.
I made a change. I was in banking for 15 years and decided to change career paths. Just because I want to help people. I want to be more involved in the community in a different way.
Okay.
The problems that we are solving, since we do restoration after a fire, water loss, mold. So usually when people call us is because they are in distress. Something happened, a pipe burst. They are in a panic. They are scared. They don't know what to do.
Mm.
And so I want to go in there and solve their problems.
Mm.
I want them to feel confident in what we do. I want them to feel a little bit more relaxed and to be able to trust their home or their business. Because when they see me, if I go to market to different places, I always say that I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to exceed your expectations. I'm going to be there every step of the way. So when they see me, I want them to know that yes, I am going to make sure that everything goes smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't go too smooth, then I'm going to find a way to fix the problem. So that's what I
No, that's great.
I can speak to the fact that my husband owns a property management company.
Okay.
And you're actually at one of our facilities right now because we did have pipe burst. And it has really made the whole situation a lot smoother because we did have great communication with the people in your office. And
That's
it worked
awesome.
Very well. Patrick?
Yeah, he's the owner of the company. So yeah, great. Thank you so much.
That's awesome. Anyone else? I'm going.
I'll share.
All right.
I started the business because I wanted to share and show people the world and create a personalized service. And we strive to take the worry and the stress out of travel because we're with you every step of the way. A lot of times we're escorting travel. And so I want people to stretch. I want them to be something someplace they've never been, something they've never done, that they don't have to have the fear of doing it alone. We're with them and we're guiding them through that.
That's awesome. Where's your favorite place to go? Like,
My favorite place to go? That is a trick question. It depends. We do a lot of different types of groups. We've done some missions organizations. We do a lot of nonprofit fundraising. And so it kind of depends on the group that we're with. We spend a tremendous amount of time in Europe.
Okay.
We're in Europe 3 or 4 times a year.
ooh,
So.
within Europe, what's your favorite?
Oh gosh, I love the Czech Republic.
Okay.
But I love the south of France. Everybody thinks that if they've been to Paris, they've been to France, and they
Yeah, not at
haven't.
all.
Paris is like New York City,
Yeah.
And then everything else is. And the south of France, the people are lovely and kind and just very, very warm and inviting. But I find that all through Central Europe.
Yeah.
The very first time I went to Europe, I was on a train riding through Germany, and I looked out, and you see great big round hay bales and hills, and I'm like, I'm in the Flint Hills.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
it's very, for me, Europe is like going home.
That's
So,
awesome.
Very welcoming and inviting.
That's awesome. Yeah, I went to Austria. Well, so we went Austria, Slovenia, Croatia, or whatever order they were in.
Right.
But we did a whole week trip. We flew in and then we drove up.
Oh,
And I think my favorite thing was we spent New Year's Eve in Croatia at a bar. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't speak the language. Our goal was to hit say Wichita's the tourist spot. We're trying to go and find the Manhattans, just tucked off far away. And yeah, we're in this bar and I don't know what's going on. And I have all my camera equipment and we're with an artist. We start filming a video out front. And the police came up and searched our car and made sure that we had all of our documentation to be there. But I think it was the coolest part about that trip was, like you said, driving through it doesn't feel like you're out of the United States sometimes.
That's so foreign.
Yeah.
And to go from one country to the next,
Yeah.
to the next, to the next, and it's not, the borders are there,
Yeah.
but they're very, you don't have stops.
Yeah.
You can't get stopped before. We've had that happen
Yeah.
before. and they're very kind, and they are very friendly for the most part to Americans.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've always got a language barrier, but amazingly, all of the Europeans, most of them speak 4, 5, 6 languages sometimes. So you don't have as much of a communication barrier as you think you might.
Yeah, no, and it's awesome. As long as you're nice to them,
That's exactly right.
that's what I always try to tell people. But all right, anyone else want to share on this?
For me, as an electrical business,
Yeah.
I'm a master electrician. I have like 28 years experience, and there's nobody else in my company. When you call, you get me.
Okay.
So anybody that needs an actual master electrician to come to their house that's going to care, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Not somebody that just calls up a company and they send out an employee, and that employee's like wondering when 5 o'clock is coming.
Yeah.
And so, like, my thing is like, I like to go to somebody's house, and then after I fix the problem, like, do you have any other problems? And I'm also trying to bridge the gap, because there's a lot of people out there that are scared to call electricians because, oh my gosh, electricians are outrageous, and that sort of thing. And I'm also trying to bridge that gap,
Yeah.
because I don't want people to be afraid to call an electrician because they have a problem, because I can come out and fix a problem a lot cheaper than people think. It's almost like a hospital bill that they think they're going to get, and they don't have insurance, so
Yeah.
people might not even go to the doctor because they think it's going to be so expensive, because you know, you hear electrician, you're like, oh, that's going to be $1,000.
Yeah.
You know, automatically, and that's what I'm trying to solve. Is I'm trying to get in that gap of people that don't have $5,000 to spend to have an electrician come to their house, you know, but they have a problem.
Yeah.
And so that's what my core is to get into the people that have something that they need fixed but are scared of that. I don't want people to be scared to call an electrician and
Yeah.
look for, you know, an answer
Yeah.
to their electrical problem.
No, that's like, it sounds like what I needed about 2 weeks ago. We got a new rental, and they wired our island to, was it 240? Is that the higher one?
Yeah.
That you like the flat top ovens go to. So we had a flat top, the glass top, stove top, and they wired our outlets next to it on the same thing. So I plugged in a toaster. Well, first one, my fiance's little brother, he was like, "Can I make toast?" We're like, "Sure." And he started screaming, "There's a fire, there's a fire." I thought he just went and sat down and started playing the game a little bit more and forgot about his toast. And then I bought a new toaster, plugged it in, and I've never seen a toaster light up like a light bulb until that day. It was pretty cool. I didn't think much of it still. I don't know why. Burned up a vacuum, and so I called my landlord, and he came out and checked it out and was like, "Yeah, this isn't right." So, yeah, no. And then we had to wait on his electrician, so, see? It would be nice to know that. And that's one thing too, like, I think if you are on social media posting about stuff like that, like, explain, like, the fears that people would have. Like, most people are afraid of the hospital bill, but, I mean, like, just explain that you're, like, a smaller company that takes pride in just helping people. So, cool. And then, do you want to share yours?
Sure.
Cool.
So what inspired us to start the kitchen is just a desire to feed people good food that's approachable, and it's not just about filling you up with, you know, physically, of course you want to feel full and satisfied, but you also want that emotional satisfaction that's tied in. So I think that's a big part of our business is I want you, of course I want you to feel, nourished has such a big definition in my opinion. It's not just about nourishing your body, it's also about nourishing your spirit and feeling that welcoming and that I've eaten food that's good for me and I still enjoyed it. So that's
Didn't taste like cardboard.
yeah. So that's like really a part of what has inspired us, because I think for so long there's been like, I eat food that's naughty and I feel guilty, or I eat cardboard protein bars and shakes with, you know, greens in it because I want to feel like I'm doing something good for my body, but I'm just choking it down.
Yeah.
And there's this whole middle ground of food that's good for you, fuels you, but still is delicious. And so that's what inspired us to start our business. I think the problem is that, you know, or maybe at least once a day, we're like, what are we gonna eat? So that problem is, it sounds like such a tiny problem, but every day one of us is like, where are we eating today? Or what are we eating today? What's for dinner? You know, we want to be that answer at least a couple times a week. That, okay, I know I can go there and I don't have to have the same thing because our menu has enough diversity on it that I can pick something and I can eat 3 different things in a week and not feel like I've eaten the same thing over and over again. And what do I want people to feel when they interact with their brand? I think that's probably one of the things that's most important to me and our brand is I want them to feel happy, nourished, satisfied. I want them to feel like they can approach. And you know, there's a lot of people, the business owner of ServPro is the one you're dealing with. You just talked about that too. Like, I'm there with my people. That's my brand is we are part of this community, and I want people to feel that.
Yeah. Dude, I was about to say, how many of us have been to the kitchen downtown? Okay. If you haven't been, I swear, like, phew, it is really good. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And so was it the buffalo mac and cheese? I want to say
Nashville.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes.
That's Jess. That's my son's thing. Yeah.
It is so good. Okay. Anyone else?
I'll try to go real quick.
Alrighty.
So I started cleaning apartments just as freelance,
Mm.
hanging out flyers and things like that. But I figured that I wanted to do something more serious, learn how business functions,
Mm-hmm.
and you know all the documentation that's needed and everything. So essentially, what inspired me was like for what it would take of me to start a business.
Yeah.
What it would teach me. You know, I mean, still being a teenager, like none of my friends are doing this kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I figured it would help me out a lot down the road. But
Yeah.
I'm, you know, doing more because I consider myself to be an entrepreneur. So
Yeah.
if I'm doing those higher up things, I feel like this will teach me the essentials of it.
Yeah.
And building something, as I said, it's more than just freelance.
Yeah.
Cleaning apartments is something that's needed. I figured, because as I said, I started just door to door, like flyers and things like that. And most of the people I would clean for were just trying to get back their security deposits.
Yeah.
So I figured if I just go straight to the source with the actual complex, then I mean I would get more business that way because people that leave their apartments trashed doesn't need to clean, of course. So yeah, that's really what got me started. Yeah. So I guess how I want people to feel when they interact with my brand is just that they're confident in their decision, confident with who they're working with my company, my brand, and trust that the job will get done properly.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome. What apartment complexes do you work with around here?
well, I live in Derby.
Oh, okay.
So I stay at the trails in Derby. So I've been talking to like the Greens, the trails, and just other apartment complexes in Derby so far until I need to expand them.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that is one thing that, like, if you take that angle of, like, are you afraid you're not going to get your security deposit back? I think that could be really cool. Granted, that limits you to, like, more of, like, a one-time thing for them. But you could also explain, like, hey, instead of hiring me just this one time, like, let's take baby steps to getting your security deposit back. I think that, like, yeah, no, that's very useful. And then have you thought about, like, going larger into, like, office spaces, stuff like that eventually?
Yeah, I've thought about it, but right now I'm just trying to get more the official side of it. You know, learn how everything about taxes, and, insurance, and all the things that I need.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you gone to the complexes and said, will you give, when you have people moving out, will you give my name to them so that I can,
I haven't taken that approach. I have gone to complexes and talked to them about things that I would need in order to do business with them, but I haven't taken that.
Yeah. Or
they'll give it, when somebody gives a notice, they can say, hey, you can contact this young man and he will help you get your apartment back into.
yeah, I think that'd be good. Or even when you move into apartments, how they give you the welcome packets. If you could even just get like a coupon inside of there, I would say that would be really cool. I don't know.
Usually like $100,
You're probably too cheap.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
You're probably too cheap.
And I've heard that before, but I'm just trying to that's how it started as freelance.
Yeah.
I was just trying to get a little bit of money.
Right.
And now that I'm trying to make it more official.
Yeah.
If I actually partner with an apartment complex, I'm going to charge more.
Well, and also, making it more official is really important. Having words like license and insured matter.
Yep.
And all that costs you money, so you need to put that in so you have it
Yeah.
covered. But that's really important. I mean, to me, I'm not using anybody that's not licensed, isn't doing their thing, because how am I gonna find them otherwise? You wanna be able to track people. There's accountability when you're licensed, you have insurance, you're showing that we can put your faith in you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's great. It's amazing. Okay. Next, structuring your brand story. So let's take all of the answers from those questions and combine it into one simple sentence. So I believe, and then your core belief. So I help, then your audience. Do, your solution. Buy, and then your method. So just an example one, Airbnbs would be, we believe in belonging everywhere, so we help travelers find unique homes by connecting them with locals. All right. Some key elements of a great brand story. Again, authenticity. Don't just go out and copy trends. So for apartment cleaning, don't just get on there and just figure out what everyone else is doing. Why are they going viral? Like, let's just focus on being real and being authentic. Next, emotion. Make people feel something. In order to retain your clients, you got to make them feel something. You got to make them feel proud that you clean their apartment well, or they know that their outlets aren't going to catch on fire. You really just need to make sure that people are confident in using you. And then lastly, simplicity. Keep it clear, keep it concise. So how to integrate your brand story across all platforms. So this is a big one. Once we've figured out exactly what your brand story is or how you're going to message it, there's different places to show your brand story on your website. Make your brand story the foundation of your website. Your about page is cool, but let's bring it to the homepage. Like almost even have within your first like couple of scrolls that like somebody is seeing like our mission or our statement, whatever the case is, however you want to word it. Make sure that that is showing on your homepage. Next, social media. Again, like I said, being consistent with your storytelling, having the content pillars that we're going to go over here in the future, and allowing it to appear naturally. Like we don't want to be forcing stuff down people's throats nowadays. I mean, we get on Instagram and you're hit with 6 ads within your first 3 posts that you're actually wanting to see. So make sure that you're being organic with the way you're posting this stuff. And that leads us to advertising and marketing, your emotions over features. So ads should feel more like mini stories and not just sales pitches. Focus on their problems, the transformations, and emotions rather than listing your product's features. Lastly, I don't know how many people still do email marketing, but it's still a thing that is really relevant. And if you aren't doing it, you should be building an email list for your company. They should feel more personable. Use storytelling and welcoming sentences, customer journeys, and the product launches. So don't just hit them with a bunch of just keywords right off the jump. Like just be, hey, so-and-so, how are you doing today? And you can, within like MailChimp or if you're using any other like CRM that does the mass emailing, you can have it do personalization at the top. So if you're like a B2B company, it could be their name, what company they work for, and then kind of go into more of a personable feel. Okay. Oh, yeah. No, you're good.
Okay. Sorry.
Good?
I'm on your site. You have a production company?
Yeah. So I do a lot of video work for local companies, whether it's, I've worked with Wichita Wind Search. I did a lot of stuff with them. Kobe Steakhouse, Wichita State. I do a lot with them right now. And then just various other companies like Festive ICT. They do like Taco Fest, a bunch of stuff like that. So
when you first meet with a company, do you go through?
yes. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm trying to go now more it is with my content anyways, rather than trying to create a viral TikTok. Like, dude, I don't care. Like, we can figure out how to do that as we go on, but when I first work with a company or with a client, I want to sit down with them and get this on paper. So one, I know how to service them better, and then two, so we can start getting their clients to know who they are personally. Like, I do a bunch with JP Wigan, and my big thing when going into that market was humanizing real estate agents because, I mean, I'm 25, trying to buy a house, and I'm sitting with all these agents, and I'm just like, okay, like it feels like you're in a snake pit. And then I get to know some of these agents. I'm like, okay, cool. Some of these agents are actually genuine humans just trying to help me get into a house that I'll love. And so wanting to just take that and show that to people rather than being like, oh, real estate agents, they're just here to get money. And so, and then I've worked with some car salesmen as well, because it was the same type of thing. Like, you think about car salesmen, you're like, hold on, they're just out to get me. And yeah, my big thing is just breaking down whatever wall people have against that industry and just humanizing it. So, all right. Biggest mistakes companies make. So, first and foremost, I see it a lot with the marketing agencies here in town or the other content agencies. Like, their thing is just, we help people grow. And, you know, it's great. I'd love to say that too. But you got to get deeper than just we help people. Like, personally, I like to help small businesses grow and tell their stories. That's just my quick little thing. And then focusing on only you. Make it about the audience, not just your business. That's another big one is, I mentioned it before, is a lot of the times when we get on social media and try to talk about stuff, it's I did this, I did that, here's what I offer. It's more of like, hey, you have this problem, this is how I can solve it. Like you want to identify their problems right off the jump. So ServPro, did you guys have a fire recently and you're looking to get restorations done, or oh no, did with wintertime, did you guys have a pipe burst? Whatever the case is, identify their problem, get them in, and then explain to them how you can fix that problem. And then inconsistency across platforms. If your social media doesn't match your website, there's a disconnect. So I know nowadays there's like 7 social media platforms people always try to get you on. Focus on a handful. That's what I've always explained. Is like if you are trying to do more B2B sales, maybe LinkedIn over Instagram. If you are trying to target the younger audience, like maybe even with the apartment cleaning, focus on TikTok and Instagram. Like you got to think of the demographics of people that are typically going to be using your services. With electricians, people that are probably on the little bit like 25 and up. Like people are just buying a home, doing renovations where they might need your help, as well as other people.
Do you think any of the social medias are out of date? Say Facebook, you know what I mean? Is there something that's...
Honestly, I think they're all great for their own use cases. Like for certain businesses, I don't think Facebook will be the platform, but I think really it depends on like what you offer. With your travel agency, I would honestly suggest Facebook, Instagram, and like TikTok.
Okay, so what about if you have, so obviously there's different parts of everyone's business, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So like for us, we have our restaurants, they're in location. We also have catering services
Yeah.
that we're doing. Do you have different, you don't have different profiles,
No,
right?
no.
But like, if you're trying to attract admins for catering, because they're the ones that are booking
Yeah.
lunches, right? So then, how do you keep your voice the same, but yet you're attracting a different audience than the people that come to our North Oliver location versus our downtown location without having a disconnect?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because our downtown audience is a little bit younger. We are getting more families up north, and then you have this other audience. So how do you flow that all in? Or does your voice, I mean, is it different on like TikTok versus Facebook?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because
So
Facebook is an older audience.
exactly. So that's where like where the inconsistency across platforms kind of has like a fine line, because my voice on Instagram is way different than LinkedIn, like to where it's like it's the same message and the same style, but obviously my LinkedIn's going to be a little bit more clean cut and framed differently because it's not going to have probably the video on it or as long of a video. When it comes to like Instagram and the reels, the body of the text isn't going to be as long, but it's going to have the video on it. So it's just learning each platform and what each platform has for the demographics that you want. So with going back to like the different profiles, I wouldn't, because nowadays what I'm noticing too is Instagram's not pushing the profile itself. Like you can see, let's just use Instagram as an example. There was a Metricool report that I can send you guys where it just breaks down what Instagram is in 2024, or like what it was. And it showed off a bunch of cool different things. First and foremost, the carousels on Instagram, those are going to be your most engagement. And it makes sense to me because, so it's when you post like 10 photos, like for you, like, yes, yeah. So that's what they call a carousel. That is for engagement, because you can post it, say I get on Instagram and I see, okay, there's a food dish. Maybe I don't like the photo right then and there. 5-10 scrolls, or if I reboot the app, it'll go to a different slide and show me another image. So that's why the carousels right now are getting the most engagement, because it's giving people more opportunities to engage with your content.
Are they constantly scrolling though? Like if you watch
Yes, you can scroll through them.
Swipe right?
Yeah. And so that's where you'll see, like if you go to my page, I have a bunch of text-based stuff like this where it's like top 3 reasons to work with us, or top 3 reasons, like, and I use that because somebody might see that thumbnail and be like, okay, I'm just going to keep going. But then they might come back and see like one of those reasons or one of those tips and tricks that I'm doing, and they might engage with that post then.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
So we've started a new program called Travel Talk Tuesday, where we bring industry like leaders.
Yes.
People from cruise lines, people from land-based, and it's just it's more educational and entertainment than a sales pitch.
Yes.
But, so we have posted them on YouTube, and we've posted them on Facebook, and we've partnered with another organization. But is there someplace else that would be better, because it's like a 30-minute?
I mean, Facebook, and for long form like that, I'd say Facebook and YouTube. But YouTube right now is really pushing the longer form content. I mean, I've been recording this entire speech, and I will just go and upload it to YouTube, and cool, if somebody didn't make it today, they can kind of view along with this.
Do people utilize that now? Do they use long content?
Yes.
We were going shorter and shorter and shorter.
From what I'm seeing on my end, long form is coming back. Like, I am seeing more and more, like, I describe it as the ADHD edit content where it's super fast cuts and this. I'm seeing that die out, and I'm glad. I hate creating it. I like having genuine stories within my content. So I'm seeing a lot more of the longer form content coming back, and just like because people want to breathe when watching stuff. Like, so yeah, I think like a big one right now is podcasts, like you were talking about. Those, if there's any way that people are finding a way to tie a podcast to their company, they're doing it only because you can generate mass content at once. Plus, I have one, and what we always used it for was I used it to connect with other business owners in Wichita. So we'd just invite them on, they'd come in, we'd talk about what they do, and then that allows us to connect with their audience as well. Because we do the collaborate post on Instagram, and it would just allow us to be seen by their people. So
So can I take that content that I've got on YouTube and
Yes.
actually just convert it to a podcast?
So yes, you can do that. Or since it's already hosted on YouTube, there's this thing called, there's a bunch of them, but there's a website called Opus Pro. What it does is it'll cut down, it's like an AI tool that will cut down a longer form, like 30-minute video into bite-sized content.
Okay.
That's what we use for our podcast. That's what I'll use for this video. It's not the best. I mean, anything AI nowadays is still getting there. It's not understanding exact context of things, but I've always noticed it to be 80% good, to where I can just go in and tweak it a little bit and be like, okay, this content from here to here is perfect. So yeah, cutting down the longer form content into the shorter form is where a lot of people are right now.
So do you think there's a magic 10 minutes, 20 minutes? Is there a magic number in there that?
For YouTube, anything over 10 minutes, personally. Like, that's one thing I've noticed is anything over 10 gets pushed a little bit more. But also, too, you got to have the retention for your content to start being posted. Like, Instagram, TikTok, whatever the case is, was it like 2 seconds? Like, you have to make sure somebody's watching for at least 2 or 3 seconds before they, like, start pushing you further in the algorithm. So, really make sure that you're focused on that. And that's where the hyper edit stuff comes into play, with people just trying to get your attention for those first little bit of time. Like,
Because if they don't get your attention, they've moved on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right? Like even when I'm watching something, if you don't answer what I'm looking for in the first at least minute,
yeah,
I'm done. I'm going
Exactly.
to the next one.
yeah.
So is there a way to get hits through, like, I'm going to say Google search?
Yes, yeah.
I don't know what else. Like if I typed in like, okay, I had a flood,
Mm.
and I'm like, flood, Wichita, Kansas, like, how do you come up on, how do you like make sure that you're getting hit?
Yeah,
when
that's
you're
it.
coming up?
That's all SEO. That's a whole different ballgame.
Okay.
I'm not ultra qualified in that. I will be honest there. I will say loading your website with verbiage is the way to go. hiring an SEO professional that will go through and edit your metadata. So we've used a couple different ones, and it's the easiest way. So it's search engine optimization.
Yeah, I know.
And then also pay to play. Like you can pay to be a sponsored post or like a sponsored listing on there. It's just one of those things where it kind of just depends on where you want to go with it.
So is it only for websites though, SEO?
No.
So it also tracks and hits all your social media
Yes, so it
platforms?
can, yeah. And then also too, I saw a crazy thing. I'm not 100% how true it is, but I mean, it makes sense because I see my fiance do it all the time. That TikTok is becoming more of a search engine than what even like Google is nowadays.
My
For
husband says
yeah,
too.
for like they say like Gen Z or millennials, whatever the case is. Like TikTok is the, it just baffles me. I still go to Google unless it's like if I'm learning how to do something like how to change the brake pads on my car. I'm going to YouTube for that. But I guess nowadays people are like looking up food recipes on TikTok. And it's crazy. I didn't think that was a thing like that. But so yeah, setting up your TikTok to be more like search friendly, like have best restaurant in Wichita somewhere in your caption. Like you can even word it as, is the kitchen the best restaurant in Wichita? Because then that's still getting your keywords right next to each other. And it's just asking a question. It's not you just being like, we're the #1 restaurant in Wichita. It's, yeah, you're just putting it in there for them.
So when you need, your business is, like every single one of us,
Mhm.
we're business based, that we need customers in Wichita.
Yes.
Right? So do you always make sure in everything that you have on social media that it has that in there?
I would. It doesn't hurt. Like to put it towards the bottom of your caption or
Does it pick up your words too if you're doing a video?
I would assume so because nowadays everything's they're doing the captions. Like
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think like ADA. Like so they're generating the captions whether how good or not it is. I mean, I've seen some where it's completely butchered what I said, but you know, it's getting there. I would say your videos isn't as hit for like the SEO than your text, but it wouldn't hurt to just mention it because another thing too is a lot of people don't read. I'm realizing that I could have a video and the caption, like, so let's just use a real life example. I did a promo video for an event here locally, and at the very end of the video, the date was there, and in the caption, the date of the event was there, and in the comments, people are like, when and where, and I'm like, well, if you would get to the end of my video, it would tell you, and then lastly, if you read the caption, it would tell you. So what I learned from that is, within the first 3 seconds, I want to have the name of the event, where it's at, and when it is. So, yeah, it's really just testing the waters and seeing what your audience is into. I mean, I keep going back to it, but with the electrician stuff. Dude, I've sat and watched videos of people just doing electrician jobs, and I'm just like, wow, that's cool. Like, I'll just sit there and watch it. Just like the guy local, SB Mowing. I mean, he has millions of followers for just going and mowing people's lawns. And people just sit there and watch him mow. Like, it's the craziest thing. I was like, wow. Like, yeah. And he just raised like $1 million or something for some lady. It was a crazy amount of money.
So we keep going to all of these things.
Yeah.
How does that then translate into someone booking a trip
Okay.
or someone calling her? Like, are call to actions even a thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My
Those are the,
marketing background is
yeah. So, yeah. I mean, all this, yeah. Call to actions are that's where you want to get people to. Like, if you don't have a call to action, what are they, like, how are they supposed to know what's the next step?
Right.
You know,
So,
one of my biggest call to actions has been lately, and for me it's different than others.
Yeah, of course.
But I have in my signature, every email I send out, it has a link to my calendar. Anytime somebody sends me a text asking me a message, I had a client today say, hey, can I refer you to so-and-so? And I said yes, and I immediately sent them a link to my calendar. Because then they can go out, and they can pick a time, that I've got blocked on my calendar, and they can pick a time to schedule an appointment with me, and then they get me exclusively for 30 minutes,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
everything else is off, and they know that it's just like this, it's me and you, and so
Interesting.
it's different,
Yes,
obviously, from what you do,
yes,
but
but still, that's the point, is that even in your signature line, you have a call to action.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, and that's
And it's simple for them.
It is.
Yeah.
It is because and it's Calendly, Candle, and it's
yeah.
cheap.
Yeah, that's great. Great that you're doing that. Because at the end of most of my videos, I'm always like, comment info for more, like if you have any questions or want me to reach out to you.
Right.
And then I have a thing called ManyChat that is linked to my Instagram to where as soon as someone comments, I have it wait like 5 minutes just so it doesn't seem creepy. And then it'll message them and be like, hey, so-and-so, I saw that you commented on my video, like how can I help you? And then they'll respond, and then I can either get back to them, or if I'm busy, it'll send an automated message and just ask another question of like, how's business been for you this year? And then it'll start generating those conversations again.
Does
That
it feel authentic though, or?
if you make
is
it,
well, I guess it depends on your business,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I know, for instance, like I'll
You're
just,
showing off of technology too.
yeah, for like the apartment cleaning. I mean, he could even just be like, if you are interested in having your apartment cleaned, comment clean, and then it'll automatically just be like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm busy right now, but here's a link to like book a consultation with us. And then that's just being honest, like, hey, I'm busy, this is an automated message. You can own up to it even and just be like, hey, and then here's how you can talk to me personally, book a link or book a call on this link. I've done stuff like that for clients as well. Like a lot of tattoo guys that I work with, that's the kind of route we take. Because I mean, you know, tattoos can take 4 or 8 hours, however long. So we always be like, hey, I don't want you to think I'm ignoring you. Here's an automated message to book a call with me. So.
The other thing is to like make it fun and like so when you're doing like travel, like put yourself in front of them. So like if I'm planning a trip to Europe next year, instead of the audience thinking, well, she's not relevant to me right now, put yourself in front of them. So like we were all sick of snow, right? Like we were all daydreaming about warmer weather. I mean that could be a simple reel and post right there with beautiful pictures of Europe in the summer. South and spring. But then also too, on like Instagram, you can save different categories. So we're all thinking about, oh, I can't wait for Europe next year. I can't wait for my next trip. And you can do certain things to be like, hey, I'm daydreaming with you. I'm creating like this vision board, or just save things that they can like tips for packing, tips for things like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
put yourself in front of it, even if it's not, because like you're kind of a, hey, I'm saving money.
Right.
I'm not there yet. I'm putting together the team that will go with me. Like,
Right.
but you can always be in front of them.
How
So
often do you
what
think
if
that
they-
should post?
Oh, at least once a week.
Once a week.
What about groups, like
Like Facebook groups?
Like
So-
we went to Italy, and I can't tell you how many Facebook travel Italy groups, and I
Right.
got so much amazing information.
Right.
But like if there had been, like, and I'm sure there were actually, I don't know, no, I do, because we booked some tours with people that we met in those groups,
Yeah.
or we got referrals for them from there. Are Facebook groups still
Oh, yeah.
relevant?
I know there's like a couple that I'm in, like locally, or even like there's a guy named Mortgage Punk, Chris Wipa. He has his group where it's like Mortgage Punk for realtors, and it's just a bunch of realtors in here asking questions. Or there's the ICT Real Estate Investors group, where it's just, yeah. See, I don't know why I'm in it. I don't have the capital to put up for an investment, but I'm in there, and yeah, and they're always asking for recommendations on like electricians or plumbers or this or that, and so I think it's just really cool. And then there's like one called Wichita Recommendations either. I mean, great one example right here, Food and Booze, the Wichita Food and Booze, like, yeah, I mean if.
But then how do you also stand out in groups like that sometimes? Sometimes I feel like that group I think has gotten so big.
Yes. Yeah, that one.
Kind of get lost in
Yeah,
noise. And
yeah.
I mean, I think for all of our businesses, you don't want to get lost in the
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think that's another part.
So it's
So do we start our own group?
you can. I mean, I would start one for like.
Well, I have a Anywhere But Here Travel and Tours page.
Yeah.
But then you're saying start a group outside of that.
Yeah, because then that's building a community. Because you want to start building a community amongst your people.
I think even narrowing it down, honestly, like, we went from looking at groups that are travel to looking at groups that were specifically for Italy.
Right.
Because if you have tips, you've been to so many places in Europe, you're gonna know that, like, in Italy, men can't wear shorts into a church. Not okay. Women can't wear sleeveless. Not okay. But I don't know if that's the same rule in Germany.
Pretty much.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it'd be cool to be able to narrow it down because, I mean, that's what we did. I exited out of all the Europe ones and I went straight to the ones that made sense for me.
Yeah. Well, and that's still very like niche based in the sense of like if it's worth your time to do that, like because there is all of those different ones. I think you're better off like just on your page posting Italy travel tips and tricks and doing that to where you're gonna pop SEO more than just a group would, unless it's something where you're trying to build like a Wichita like travel group. But yeah, I wouldn't stress it a whole lot. I'd focus on joining the public groups already there, like the real estate investors or food and booze or whatever the case is. There's so many people like creating these new Wichita business groups. You're better off just joining those and promoting yourself within them than trying to like build your own right off the bat. And that's just
And what's good for me is I have clientele all over the country. I have clientele in foreign countries, so
Yeah.
I don't have to be
yeah,
just local.
yeah.
Or I'm different than like your electricians and cleaning companies.
Yeah, yeah, where it's more like Wichita based than.
Right.
Yeah, no, I feel that. That's how, like when I started the whole consulting side of what I do, it's I can be on a call and somebody in Phoenix, Arizona, and then, yeah, no, I understand that one. And it's a whole different marketing strategy because you're competing nationwide on it, so, or worldwide even with what you're doing. So, let's go. Sue. Oh, cool. This part's done. Any questions right off the jump? So if you made it this far, like I said, I was really nervous and yeah, I was just shaking in my boots the whole time. So if you made it this far, thank you. I appreciate y'all and I hope you have a blessed day and I will catch y'all later.